the rest of what we know about how dangerous smoking is, why would there be some benefit to smoking marijuana?
There's a lot of brownies down there. Question up there, and then we'll go down.
I'm glad you raised this issue, because I was going to say back as I come from the pharmacy regulation background, and it seems to me that the safe access to medication is the real prescription dispensed by a pharmacy that knows your medical history, has all your other drugs, etc. If we could get the feds to put all of marijuana, including whether it's smoked or people are working on inhalers and other forms, patches and things, would your organization support if we move marijuana into Schedule 2 or Schedule 3 with Marinol, repealing Prop 215 as unnecessary because anybody could get their marijuana through, anybody with a need could get it through the same way we get our OxyContin?
Well, I mean, I can tell you this, that we currently are part of a rescheduling petition to move marijuana to Schedule 3, 4, 5. I can't speak exactly what we will say about Prop 215 when and if that happens. But again, this points to the fact that the federal government is just making all this more difficult. The reason why you can't have a marijuana prescription is because of the federal government. And so you go with this kind of more loosey-goosey recommendation system. And we certainly favor greater regulation.
So if it's rescheduled, then we don't need what we've got now. We have pharmacies, we don't need dispensaries.
I mean, I think it's just premature for us to comment on that at this time.
We got this one right here.
So, just 2 points of clarification. First, when you say that there isn't any medical evidence of the helpfulness of marijuana, that's because the federal government has blocked all of that studying.
Not true.
That is true.
No, it's
The
not.
federal government.
That's just not true, man. That's absolutely not true.
That is true.
Race is a race decision covered all this in great
That's not
detail.
about the race decision.
No, this is all,
Scientists have tried to have medical marijuana studies approved through the federal government and get marijuana from the one farm in the country that is allowed to provide marijuana legally to 8 people in this country.
Ma'am, that's as anecdotal as the suggestion that everybody who is using medical marijuana really has a proven legitimate use.
That's not anecdotal. And second, Marinol does not work for a variety of people. And for the federal government to keep pushing Marinol, the reason they do it is because that's a drug that can actually be patented and sold by a drug company. Marijuana is a plant that grows out of the ground, and the drug company can't patent it and make money off of it, which is one of the reasons why this whole idea of bringing it to the pharmacies is not going to work. Because drug companies are not going to get behind something that they can't own exclusively. But third, your point about marijuana being dangerous. Alcohol is so much more dangerous than marijuana. People drink too much, they can overdose.
Yes, it is true.
Wait, I want you to finish your question, please.
People smoke marijuana, and they stay at home, they watch some cartoons.
Okay, who's got the next question? Question right over here. Question right here.
It doesn't even rise to the level of...
I want to answer the question.
I'm serious. Tell me about a person that has overdosed on marijuana. Tell me one case.
We've had instances of train operators who have been high on marijuana who caused accidents. We've had cases of airline pilots who have taken their planes down. Listen, man, the notion that people are using marijuana and staying home and watching cartoons is so fanciful as to be absurd. I don't know. You're drinking the truth.
Another question, please. This young lady who I was pointing for, yeah. So you, with black jacket.
I was curious about why they found marijuana to be inherently harmful, but it's true, just piggybacking on her, that alcohol, I don't know of a study where they've proven any positive effects of alcohol other than wine for the heart, and yet that is legal, as well as cigarettes. You point to the harmful
The Shaver
effects,
Commission,
but
among others, made a finding that...
Well, why one more than the other?
But the Shaver Commission, among others, made a finding that marijuana was more like the other Schedule I substances in terms of its harmfulness than substances like alcohol, tobacco, and caffeine, which are also, in a way, drugs. That 90% of people who use alcohol have no problem with developing an addiction to it. Whereas significantly higher numbers of persons who use controlled substances, Schedule I substances do develop a dependency on it. And the science of the damage caused by marijuana, which is set out both in the excerpt of record that I read from earlier, as well as in the Reich decision and consistently for the last 40 years, is legion.
If addictiveness is a factor, then how do you explain cigarettes?
Said in terms of the harm that is produced, it is more like the Schedule I substances. The scientists and the doctors have found, not the lawyers, have found, than alcohol, tobacco, or caffeine. That's the conclusion reached.
But are the factors addictiveness? Because when you...
Addiction by itself is not. You can be addicted to caffeine. You can be addicted to cigarettes.
There's a class in here, one hand, so we got to leave in 1 minute. One more question here.
Thank you so much. I just had a question about the excerpt of the record that you read from the Schaefer Commission, and you read that they did not recommend legalization and trafficking. I think those are the words that you said. And Joe from State Access said that the Schaefer Commission recommended decriminalization of marijuana for personal use. And so I was wondering how not recommending legalization and trafficking rebut the contention that the Schaefer Commission recommended decriminalization.
Well, I just suggested you look at this or some other excerpt of record, the official record of the Schaefer Commission, rather than relying on a hearsay claim of what they may have said.
And I would suggest the same.
We have to say thank you and stop because we have another class.